This article aims to present a comprehensive and factual view of the Betty and Barney Hill abduction, focusing on their detailed accounts and addressing debunking efforts that have not succeeded in disproving their story. The Betty and Barney Hill abduction, a detailed examination of the extraordinary encounter that debunks the debunkers. undebunkinguFOs.blogspot.com. Intro. The Betty and Barney Hill abduction case, one of the most famous and extensively documented UFO abduction stories, remains a significant event in the study of extraterrestrial encounters. On September 19, 1961, the Hills, an interracial couple from Portsmouth, New Hampshire, reported an encounter with a UFO that would profoundly impact their lives and the field of ufology. This article provides an in-depth look at the abduction from a perspective that upholds the authenticity of their account, highlighting the details of their experience and addressing the debunking attempts that have failed to disprove their story. The abduction experience. On the night of September 19, 1961, Betty and Barney Hill were driving home from a vacation in Niagara Falls when they noticed a bright light in the sky that appeared to be following them. As they drove through the White Mountains of New Hampshire, the light grew larger and began to take on a disc-like shape. The Hills reported that the object descended and hovered above their car, emitting a strange glow. UFO encounter and abduction. The Hills described the UFO as a huge, silent craft with a dome on top. It had a series of windows through which they could see figures moving inside. According to their account, the craft descended and hovered above their vehicle, and then a series of events unfolded that led to their abduction. The Hills recalled a period of missing time, during which they experienced a sense of floating and disorientation. They later reported being taken aboard the UFO, where they encountered beings that they described as non-human, with large heads, slanted eyes, and small bodies. The beings conducted a series of medical examinations on them. Betty reported being subjected to a gynecological examination, while Barney described a similar procedure, although the details were less clear. Post-abduction and regression therapy. The Hills' account was not immediately reported but emerged over time through a series of sessions with psychiatrists and under hypnosis. Their recollections were detailed and consistent, which added credibility to their experience. Under hypnosis, both Betty and Barney described their encounters in strikingly similar terms, despite initial skepticism from some quarters. Debunking attempts and their failures. 1. Psychological explanations. Some critics have suggested that the Hills' experience could be attributed to psychological phenomena such as sleep paralysis or a shared hallucination. However, the Hills' account was detailed and consistent, and both were subjected to medical and psychological evaluations that did not reveal any significant psychological disorders that would account for their experience. 2. Hoax claims. Others have proposed that the Hills fabricated their story for personal gain or publicity. Yet, the couple's consistent testimony, the detailed descriptions of the UFO, and the lack of any evidence of fabrication undermine this theory. Additionally, the Hills had no financial or personal motive to invent such a story. 3. Natural explanations. Attempts to explain the Hills' encounter as a misidentified aircraft or atmospheric phenomenon have been debunked by experts. The Hills' detailed descriptions of the UFO and the physiological effects they reported are inconsistent with known aircraft or natural phenomena. 4. Subsequent investigations. Various investigators, including the highly respected UFO researcher Benjamin Simon, who conducted hypnosis sessions with the Hills, supported the authenticity of their experience. Dr. Simon found their accounts to be genuine and consistent with the stress and trauma typically associated with such experiences. Summary. The Betty and Barney Hill abduction case remains a cornerstone of UFO abduction literature. The detailed descriptions provided by the Hills, their consistent testimony, and the failure of debunking attempts to disprove their account underscore the significance of their experience. The Hills' encounter with a UFO and their subsequent abduction remains one of the most compelling and thoroughly examined cases in the annals of ufology. Their story continues to inspire interest and debate in the search for understanding the nature of extraterrestrial encounters and the limits of human experience.